Alrighty, in today's video, we are going to look at the Audiotronics 304A, and that's what this is in front of me here. Some of you recognize it right away. Some of you might be going, what is this? If you're 40 or above, like I am, you remember this well back in school. We're going to look at it here in just a second. Yes, the Audiotronics 304A. It was in a classroom near you. If you grew up in the 50s, 60s, 70s, even in the 80s, you saw this turntable in the classroom, the library, maybe the public library. It was used everywhere. It was built like a tank. You see the corner protectors on here. It was made to travel like suitcase luggage. You know, it was built tough. You could bump it around, and it just didn't break that easy. Of course, you can break them, but they weren't that easy. Okay, before we look in the inside, let's take a look at the outside and see what we got here. On the front, you notice that right away, right? That's that big old 6x9 speaker that just gives you that glorious sound, mono sound throughout the building. And yeah, that's the front of it there. It even says it's bi-directional sound. On the inside, it actually says that. And what that is you get the front of the speaker there, and this is kind of hollow down through the underside of the turntable. So in the back of it, if you turn it around, you see a grill on the back side here. That would get the back side of that speaker, so it would kind of come out here, and this would come out. So it kind of give you a more fuller sound instead of just a box speaker coming out. So it gave it that unique sound that once you play it, you know, yeah, it's from my childhood. It's from when I was in school. I remember that. Okay, another feature on the outside is here on the side. You see the handle. This was made to, you know, carry it around, again, just like luggage. But underneath it was kind of a little hidden gem there, which is the power cord. Power cord was inside the box underneath the turntable as well, and was made to where you just coiled it up in there and it stayed there. It wouldn't come out. It hides it pretty well, but as soon as you need it, you just grab the end of the plug, and of course it just comes straight out, ready to plug into the wall. And then when you were through with it, you just coiled it back in there. You just turn it back in there. That beat having something on the outside that you'd wind the cord around. Remember those old TV stands we saw a lot in schools as well, where the power cord, the extension cord would wrap around the little hooks on the sides like that. Don't need that here. It goes inside. It's hidden pretty well, and again, it travels really good, not having that cord. And not having a cord that you would plug in, you know, like our computers do today, those universal cords, where you'd lose it. Nah, this was built in, and everything was in a good place. All right, let's get it plugged in. We'll take the top off. Let's see what's on the inside. All right, plugged in, ready to go. Let's take the top off here so we can see what is inside. And the first thing you're going to notice that when the lid comes off, it's on a hinge, but it's on a breakaway hinge. It's not the type that stays, you know, mounted to it to where it's flopping around. No, it comes right off. You just hook it right in and close it. But the first thing you'll notice on the inside is just a hidden gem that I love to see this. I really do, because I don't like booklets. I don't like manuals to get lost, and they get lost. This way, everything's right here on the inside cover that tells you what to do, how to operate this particular unit. And it's also made for 4 other units as well, because the functionality was pretty much the same. This is a 304A. They made a 308T, a 308VT, a 304T, and a 304VT. They all did a little bit different. Some of them would have a different tone arm. They would have different knobs on it, but pretty much the same. And if it dictates that, it'll say it here. This is for model whatever. And yeah, your instructions right here. You won't lose this. It's glued in. I like that a whole lot. Okay. Let's take a look underneath here and see what we got. It's the Audiotronics 304A bi-directional sound. This is where it says it right here. Let's start up here in the upper left-hand corner. You see it's got 4 speeds, 16, 33, 45, and 78. Now, you might be looking at that, especially if you're younger, you might be wondering, what's 16 RPM? What would that be? You know, I'm into turntables today, but they don't have 16 RPM. Well, back in the day, a lot of your educational material, especially if it was speech, taping for the blind, places like that, or institutions like that, would have audio on records. And when it comes to just vocal, just voice, 16 RPM was fine. You didn't need it to go fast for quality's sake. It was just your voice, so 16 worked out good. Music sounded somewhat okay on 16, not the best, and it wasn't designed for that. It was designed mainly for just the vocals only. 33 we're familiar with albums today, 45s as well. If you hear any 45 records, that's the kind with the big hole in it. It fits that right there. 78s would be the small hole 10-inch disc. Don't make those anymore. I have some, and so I'm able to play everything. I've got every speed there that records come in, so this gives you the ability to play every one of them. Now, here's the neat thing I did not know when I got this unit here was how old is it? My first look, I thought it was at least the 70s, maybe early 70s, mid 70s, but no. One thing that should have given it away was the tone arm. The tone arm being this chrome or tone arm rather, kind of gives it away, because the ones in the 60s and the 50s were those big fat ones that were on here too. The same models, but they were a big fat tone arm that turned around, and you know, just big old giant thing. It looked like a Cadillac. But yeah, this kind of gives that away. And as you see the serial number on the left side, then you have a 1084 to the right of it. That's actually October of 1984. I found that out later that, yeah, this was built, this was one of the last models that they made before they discontinued these. Obviously, CDs took these out of production. They made them for many years, from the 50s all the way through the 80s, and they started phasing them out in the 80s. Now this right here is a little tower. Kind of a neat idea. It kind of gives you the fiber optic feel of just, you know, glass standing up there. The light is down inside the unit, but shines up and glows up on top right here. In fact, when you turn it on, let me go ahead and just turn it on, you can see it glowing on the top. It's kind of hard to see here in the studio, but it does. It glows red, you can see that. And what's good about that is if you turned off the light, say in the classroom, and you kind of looked around the classroom after you turned the lights off, you would have seen this. And you said, oh, the turntable's still on, so let me go turn it off. So that was kind of a good observance, you know, that you could see that the unit was still on. It would stay on all night. The tone arm, again, modern. This is an 80s tone arm. What's nice about this is, you know, back in the day, in the classroom, the students a lot of times would operate this for the teacher. The teacher would get somebody to do it. And just so that you wouldn't drop the tone arm and the needle, the stylus would drop down on this metal down here. It has a little glide path, a little shelf that would hold it. So if you did drop it, it would just fall down on that, see, and it wouldn't hit anything else. So that was a safety measure. If you dropped the tone arm by accident, it wouldn't fall all the way down and damage your stylus. Now, speaking of stylus, they still make the stylus for these units. They still make them. There's a guy up north, I'll put it in the description below where I got it, but I bought several of them just to make sure that in case they stop making them, you know, I'll have plenty to use through the years. But what's nice about this is it is mono, so you got to get the right stylus for it. And the neat thing about this is it had a standard side, and then when you flip it over, it was made for 78s because it's cut differently. A 78, the groove is cut different than a 33 and a 45 and a 16, so it gave you both sides. They also had them to where you could just do the 33, 45, and 16 on both sides to where when one would wear out, you just flip it over and use the other side. But I chose not to do that. I chose to get the combination because I do have 78s and some of the others as well, a lot of the others. So it gives me a better variety there to be able to use. The next button over here, the knob rather, is a pause and play, which is kind of odd. You don't see that in turntables at all, never really have. But I guess it was made to where you could put it on the selection that you wanted, kind of cue it up, and just hit it on pause, and then you could just hit play and it start playing. Works okay. It also, so you could have it on without this turning round and round. It would pause it. So if I was to turn this on, say it would just be running around and around and around, and a teacher probably would want that. She would want it to stay up on the volume that she would want and just put it in the pause and it would stay paused. While we're doing this, let me switch it to 16 and you'll see, if you've never seen 16, see how slow that's going at 16 RPM. Very, very slow. But again, a 10-inch disc would have played for an hour, on one side. So you got a lot of information in there, and then you'd flip it over and you'd have the same on the other side. Switch it to 33, goes a little bit faster. That's what we're normally used to seeing. And then you got 45. And then, of course, last but not least, 78, which is going around like gangbusters there. That's pretty cool. Let's put it back on 33 because that's where we're going to be here in just a little bit when we try and play a record. Now, the next two knobs here, you've got your off and tone. As soon as you turn it on, let me turn that off, but as soon as you turn it on, it's already in the treble. You got treble and bass, and it's already, high pitched there or higher. And then you get pretty much the mid-range in the middle, and then all the way to the right would give you full bass, not thumping bass. No, these just give you a nice warm bass. So I like to put it about 2 o'clock because I like a little bit of bass, but not too much bass on the music that I play. The next one's the volume. All the way down is all the way down, then all the way up. That's all it does. It doesn't do anything special. Nothing there. All right, before we put the record on, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about on this turntable here. It's not a direct drive. It's got gears in it, so whenever you change the speed, it's got a wheel that turns here that rubs on the inside of this platter here, and actually just kind of like a carnival ride. You see the wheels turning and it would make things go. Kind of the same thing. It turned one way and it would make this turn the other way, and the different speeds. Believe it or not, it's accurate. It really, really is. The other thing is the spindle here. You've got the normal 33, 16, and 78 in the middle, but the 45, it was always the oddball. Of course, it dates back to the 1940s when Columbia, of course, they invented the small hole. RCA invented the 45, which had the big hole, so it was just a competitions, all that really, really was. But the spindle, the 45 adapter spindle, we'd always lose those. But this one here, you're not going to lose this one because it's in there. You lift it up, turn it like that counterclockwise, and there you go. You got your 45 in the middle there. You're not going to lose that. When you're through with it, you want to play an album, turn it to the right, it falls back down, voila, there you go. All right, I got a record here that I think is going to be excellent for this demonstration. This is, of course, an old Patti Page album, high fidelity. It wasn't stereo, it was mono. And when you look on the back, I love to read the back of albums back then because they always had something that doesn't make sense today, but made sense for yesterday. And on the back, it starts off with a question that says, play your Mercury regular monaural long playing recordings on a stereo phonograph? Please do. The sound quality of any Mercury long playing recording is actually enhanced on a stereo phonograph. No, I don't buy that at all. I think that was just a marketing scheme, so they make sure that they're still selling their albums, and nobody's dropping out on anything out in the industry. So I think that was done just for that purpose. But when you have a monaural, a mono record, the way it's cut in the groove, if you play it with a stereo stylus or a stereo needle, you know, it's trying to read both sides of that V, and a monaural wasn't cut that way. It wasn't made that way. So if it enhances anything, it's just going to enhance the surface noise of the record itself on here. So that's I'm going to say no on that. But okay, if it sold records, I guess we're good, right? All right, let's see. We've got this turned on. Let's turn this up. Turn our tone where we want. Let's put it in the play mode so we can get it spinning. And let's see how it sounds. I mean, immediately that brought me back to the day when I first heard one of these, probably the first grade. It just had that sound, and all through school, I remember playing these, and I want to say back in the first grade, we would do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then immediately following that, we would play, you know, stuff like "This Land Is Your Land, This Land Is My Land." We would play those, and we would sing to those. And maybe in the library, we would have heard music or something in the library. The music room, I remember the music room, we do square dancing. Remember square dancing? Yeah, on these. You'd play the record, and we would do square dancing, all those fun things back in elementary school. There you go. The Audiotronics 304A, this one right here, a 1984 model, in great shape for the age that it's in, and I plan to take care of this for many, many years to come and enjoy playing some of my old albums on it, some of the old mono albums on this particular unit, because it's just a blast. It's a lot of fun. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, thank you for coming along, and please subscribe to our channel and comment down below. I'd love to know if you have a 304A T or a VT or any of the models, or do you even remember playing this back in school? Let us know in the comments below. Give us a thumbs up as well. We'll see you next time on the next video.